Welcome to another episode of Off Script. I'm Will, one of your co-hosts.
And I'm Ashley. And today we're going to be talking about how to own your routine as a top agent and what a day in the life would look like.
Yeah, really lay out a game plan of how to go from, just starting out in real estate or maybe doing 6 to 10 deals up to, honestly, what you did up to 50 now. It's never perfect, right? But what is ideal and truly just how to stack days and get a little bit better every single day. So we're trying to break this up into morning routine, how to start your day off right, how to get you in a place where you feel motivated, excited, and you have a plan. And then we're going to talk a little bit about lead generation and how to make it not suck so bad, because I know that we all think it's not so fun. What your afternoon should look like, and then how to really end your day the right way. Right? And I think a lot of us, we lose track of that because we get into the race and it's just like, wake up, you're in the race, and then you go to you're exhausted or done or have nothing left to do, and then you're like, oh, okay, we're done, and you're exiting, right? So just a great way to be a little bit more intentional with the hours that we have.
Let's do it. Let's get into it.
Okay, cool. Do you want to start with morning?
Sure.
Morning routine.
Yes.
One thing that I think we're huge on always, especially here, and I think all agents should try to incorporate on a daily basis is gratitude. And that's literally the first thing that we start with every single day. And I think most top agents, if you're starting in a place of gratitude, you can't be coming from a place of fear or doubt or any of those things. So gratitude's super important for us. I think a lot of times it's looked at as like, okay, like that's just one little thing. That's a task that you do. And we had to recenter this week about like, hey, gratitude's super important. I was reading some stats about this over the week. Can I read them to you? So professionals who practice daily gratitude are up to 31% more productive. All of us want to be more productive. So putting yourself in a state of gratitude daily over time, and it compounds, right? You start to think with more gratitude in your heart. People who write down 3 things they're grateful for daily are 25% happier after 10 weeks. Gratitude improves sleep by 10 to 15%, leading to better mental clarity and daily output. And then gratitude reduces cortisol levels by up to 23%, lowering stress and improving focus. And do we not live in a stressful environment when it comes to real estate?
We do. And I think like it does seem like a task that you just have to check off and do. But if you really take the time to think about it, there's so much to be grateful for. And it's really what I find is interesting is it doesn't matter what place you are in your career, how important it is to reset and do that, because there's really, really high producing top agents that are selling 50, 60, 70 houses a year. And like when you get so in the weeds of things, sometimes it's hard to pull yourself out of it. And that's like something to be grateful for in itself, right? It's easy to be like, I'm so busy and I have no time and my life is chaos and da da da. And then there's all of these other agents around you watching you that would love to be in your position. So like the gratitude there is just like, you be grateful for having the amount of business that you have. And so we hear it from all different levels of people in different areas of their business, but there's always something to be grateful for.
Gosh.
Whether you're busy, whether you're slow, whether you're wanting to get somewhere, whether you're just grateful for your coffee this morning.
Yeah, no, it's funny because sometimes it's hard to find something to be grateful for until you zoom out, right? Think about people in different countries that maybe don't have the things that we have. And we get so stuck in like, well, this deal's going bad and this client's this way and they're not nice, whatever's happening, right? They're not reasonable. But at the end of the day, like what a cool opportunity we have to work for ourselves and have the opportunity to determine our outcomes, as long as we do it with the right attitude. So gratitude, we start every day we possibly can in a place of gratitude on our team. That way we can set the mood, set the intentions the right way.
Yep.
Next thing, intentions and what would make today a win. I feel like the next big piece of the morning is like determining what would make today a win instead of just, again, like we talked about before, like getting into the race. I think that's something you guys started to incorporate a little bit here recently of like, hey, what would make today a win? What's our big rocks? But how would this day move us forward?
Yeah, I mean, how often do we have something difficult going on with a seller or a buyer? We're like really in a situation. It's all you're thinking about. And then you wake up first thing in the morning and you just dive in your day and you just start going. But you have no intentionality or plan for the day. And it's really easy to look up after 10 hours and be like, what did I actually accomplish today? Because I just went straight into it and just started going on the hamster wheel.
That's right.
That's so easy to get on. So
In every career too, right? And,
Yeah, in any
and then we
career.
do it in ours too.
Right. So we set intentions as a team every Monday, Wednesday, Friday when we're all meeting, and then try and do it over text on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But I do it as a daily huddle too with Maya every day, and it's really just to look and say, okay, here's a high level of what's going on today, but if I were to accomplish this big nugget or this one thing, that's considered a win for the day, and that's like the one thing I'm going to get done today.
Yeah, and to guide you a little bit on that, like what are the activities agents should be doing, and of those activities, your intention should be one of those, right? So
Yeah.
I'll let you talk about
So, and we'll dive a little bit deeper into this throughout the podcast, but kind of a day in the life of what we think a day should look like, or what a day kind of looks like for me, would be setting the intentions and doing script and role play. If it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I always practice my skill sets. And then as far as the day, it would be lead gen and follow-up would be the very first part of the day. If I don't have other meetings or things, I really make time for that. And that's at least usually 2 hours. An hour of lead generating and an hour of follow-up with people that are already leads in my pipeline. And then the rest of the day is either going on appointments, whether it's listing appointments or buyer consults if you're working buyers, negotiating deals, working on business that I'm in the middle of. And then lastly would be prepping for tomorrow's appointments and such like that. And really that should be your main area of focus of the only activities you're doing.
Is it plans or something like that?
Yeah, there's an acronym for it. Plans. It's prospecting, lead gen, going on appointments, negotiating your deals, and then S is working on your skill set.
Yeah. So when you're talking about what's my intention for the day, get a little bit better. What's one thing you can do? Set an appointment. Talk to this many people. Negotiate a certain contract that you might be dealing with and getting that squared away. There should be a very clear outcome that you're looking to accomplish in that day, right? And if you set that, you start with gratitude and set your intention the right way. Next up is pipeline.
Yeah. So for me, an example of that would be I'm going to talk to 8 people today, 2-way conversations, and of those 8 people, because I already know which 8 people I'm calling for the day, that's part of my planning and setting my intentions for the day of knowing who I'm going to call. I want to set an appointment with 2 of those. That would be a very concrete intention for the day, and then go and track those numbers at the end of the day.
Yeah, love it. So you have an idea, you have a definitive idea of what would make today win, and then it's about like doing your best to actually get there. We all have fires to put out, we get busy, right? But getting these things done early is super important. One thing that I think is extremely important for an agent to do is to look at their pipeline at the beginning and the end of the day. So as we go through gratitude, intentions, and then we figure out what that win's going to be for the day, we've got to be looking at our pipeline every single day. So number one, if you don't have a pipeline, you're going to need to get a pipeline put together. And that could look like ABC, hot, warm, cold. For us, we practice 0 to 30, 30 to 90, 90 plus, and that's their timeline before going under contract, or what we think it is.
And we'll go into that when we get into the lead gen too, a little bit deeper.
Yep. So looking at that every single day and understanding, like, is there anybody in here that I could move or I could, connect with that would help move my pipeline forward? So I think that should be something that's looked at early in the day, just to make sure that what you focus on expands. So if you're looking at your pipeline every single morning, every single evening, over time, that's going to be the focus of moving people closer to the finish line. I think that's really important.
Yep.
Next up, script and role play.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Before we get into lead gen block. So script and role play is not something everybody loves to do, but it's one of those skill set things, and it puts you in the right mindset of, hey, what kind of lead generation conversations am I going to have today? Let's practice that once with my peers, see what I could change, see what kind of things I could do a little bit better, and go, instead of practicing on your clients, practice with somebody that knows what you should be doing, and then step into your lead gen block.
Yeah, and it's going to be uncomfortable. I used to hate doing it. Like, it's awkward at first doing it in front of your peers, but why go out and practice this on a client and miss the opportunity of converting that appointment when you could go practice with your peers? And you're always going to lose appointments, but your conversion level is going to go up significantly if you are practicing on a routine basis. We practice at least 3 times a week, and my goal for myself personally is to always go to at least 2 a week.
Yep. Just making sure that we're staying, refined, right? Making sure your skill set, this is our craft. This is what we do on a day-to-day basis, is we use our words to move business forward. And I think it's really important that we practice that on a daily basis, because most people, I can tell you 90% of agents probably never script and role play on a consistent basis, and that's unfortunate, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, I was listening to a training one time, and I think they used Tom Brady as an example. Like, even when you feel like you're the greatest of the great and you're selling 30 houses or 40, or you've hit your goal and you're like, I'm where I want to be, you don't stop practicing. He didn't stop practicing just because he was the greatest to ever do it.
That's
one of
right.
the greatest.
Yep, you just continue to get better every day. It's about the process more than it is about like what the outcomes are.
Yep.
So I think that's super important. So get script and role play in. I'm huge on that. I love it. It's like been one of the things that I think has been infused into our culture as something that we do. And I think it's helping everybody over as time compounds. I love this line too. Plan your day before your clients do. Right?
I haven't heard that, but that's a good one.
So plan, because they will.
They will.
They
They'll
100%
take
will.
over your whole schedule.
So our whole start of our day when we work with our agents, when we work with top producers, is directly centered around starting with gratitude, setting the target for the day, and then making sure that your calendar is in a place and structured in a place to actually accomplish that. Okay, next up we got lead gen.
Yep, so we've owned our morning routine, we've set intentions. If you've time blocked for script and role play, you've done that for the day, and now you're into the part that nobody loves to do.
Everybody should love to do
But everybody should love to do it, so it's bringing you in money.
Yeah. You know, it's really funny as we get open up the lead generation topic. If you ever were to be hired for a sales job and you didn't know your numbers and you didn't talk to people every day, you'd be fired.
Yeah.
So, like, most of us, if we hired ourselves, would fire ourselves pretty immediately as agents because we're in a sales job and we don't talk to people. And so I think that's like the number one thing is like change perspective around what is real estate. Real estate is houses and it's helping people accomplish something that's a huge deal to them. But at the end of the day, we're in a sales career. And so it's really important to practice skill sets and then also do sales activities, which is lead generation.
Yep.
So for us, only 2 hours of your day, that can be, I think that's like 2 hours is the right amount of time. Everybody says to do 2 hours. Do we ever do it? Yes, no, but it's about at least having it time block and then trying to hit that time block.
Yeah, I would say I do an hour of lead gen and an hour follow-up. It may not always happen perfectly how I would like it to, where it's an hour of uninterrupted time. All that is my goal. The follow-up, I would say, happens more sporadically in between my appointments and throughout the day. I don't usually get an hour of just like 2 hours straight uninterrupted time. But I do think it's important to separate out the two and probably focus on those that look at them as different things. Lead gen is bringing in new pieces of business, new possible leads, and your follow-up is following up with the people that you've already made contact with and are continuing to move them through your pipeline.
Yeah.
So like lead gen can be fun because database is like, would be lead gen. Me calling my DTD2s, that's lead gen. And that's not awkward and cringy and not fun, and I'm not having to circle dial and be cold calling people all day long.
Yeah, you're drumming up business through the people that you know. When you're early on in your career, when you're not Ashley, who happens to be number 9 out of 3,800 in Omaha, which is awesome, you're freaking killing it, you probably don't have an hour worth of follow-up to do a day. So if you're newer, it's probably 90 minutes to 30 minutes. Some days it's all 2 hours or lead generation, but you've got to get the train moving. When you're early on your career or you're not like hitting the numbers that you're setting your goal for the year, getting the train moving is way harder than stopping it. You have to build momentum, and in order to build momentum, you have to stack days and compound them by like actually hitting your lead gen time blocks time and time again. We talked about it this morning. If you don't have appointments in the afternoon, you don't have clients that you're actively dealing with,
increase your lead gen.
Increase your lead gen. Like, your sense of urgency and focus on lead generation is literally going to be the one thing that gets you to success.
Yeah, and we're giving you guidelines of time blocks, right, of what you can put on it. But we all know if you get on the call with a really long talking person, you may be on the phone for one person for 40 minutes. Hopefully that's not the case frequently. But like, that's a general idea, but really knowing your numbers and how many conversations you have to have a week in order to hit your goals is what's really, really critical. So if that takes you 3 hours to do, it takes you 4 hours to do, or it takes you 1 hour, it doesn't really matter, but you need to be hitting your contacts.
That's exactly right. Database should be your main thing. And if you don't have a big database, if you're newer to a city or newer to the industry and like don't have a big sphere of people to call on, you have to do the cold lead generation tactics, right? A lot of people invest in leads. You don't have to do that. I obviously built my real estate career and how I got into this industry on door knocking because I didn't know anybody. And the cool thing about cold lead generation is you're going to outpace everybody in skill sets. So you may have to talk to more people to find one. And if you have that urgency, you will find them. But you're going to practice your skill sets 10 times more than anybody else is. So when you're in the room with a cold lead or somebody at an appointment, you've had so many more reps than anybody else. So I know a lot of people knock on cold lead generation, like door knocking and cold calling. and all these different things, but it's some of the best work you can do because you're practicing how to convert and how to become better as a salesperson.
Yeah, and it can be done because we physically watched Katie, our lead buyer agent, now do this before she came over onto our core team. I mean, for hours, she would sit in that office. She did have a big sphere of people from her past career, so she focused on database. And she would cold call listings and circle dial and do that. And by the time she came onto our core team, she had almost 100 people in her pipeline between 0 to 30. I mean, it was crazy. Like, we had to go deep on how to convert those people in her pipeline. But she was just consistent for 6 straight months. And she had 100 people in her pipeline.
Yeah. It's like what I've seen time and time again, like with Anthony, with Katie, with how I started. When you don't have a database or sphere, and you cold call, like, you have to build this pipeline that is gigantic. It's like 60, 70, 80 people in a pipeline. And then it's almost like this moment where it's almost like...
Pipeline pops.
Yeah, it crushes you because you're like, how do I have this many people that say they're going to buy a house or sell, and then they just don't? And you're in that period of like, are you going to keep going? And then it does. It pops, and then all of a sudden you're extremely busy, quote unquote, out of nowhere. But people don't see all the months and months and months of time of you hitting your lead gen time. Yeah.
Didn't she go like 2 months without selling a house? So she was so defeated because she had all these people, and then all of a sudden it was like popped off 10 in 4 weeks or something.
Yep, that's exactly right. Like, came back, and all of a sudden she's like, too busy, you know. Now you have 4 deals you're doing in a month, and you went from 0. Jim Hare did the same thing. He knocked for 6 straight months, and then out of nowhere he had 10 pendings, right? It's, people say out of nowhere, but that took 6 straight months of just diligence with his craft and continuing to knock doors for him.
Yeah, the first 6 months is the hardest, but then once you have a flow going and a rhythm to what you're doing, then it just keeps compiling on top of each other.
Yep, so for us, we call it DTD2, and what that is you call your database once a quarter. So it basically breaks up 26 letters in the alphabet, 2 letters a week. You call those people on a weekly basis. Be consistent about it. And if you run out of those people, there's so many different reasons to lead generate. If you have one buyer, you can knock every single door in that whole entire city saying, who do you know that might be selling? Because I have a buyer. And if you're urgent about it and you focus on it, that will come. If you have a listing coming to the market, you can knock a coming soon, an open house, you can knock a price reduction, you can knock a just sold. There's so many different reasons. And if you're not knocking, you can call. So there's so many different reasons to lead generate, or different ways to. And I think it's just important to hit numbers and have a focus there.
Yep. Social media is another good one these days, but I caution you on spending more time on working on your social media and your content than actually putting it out there and following up. So I think that's relevant in today's time because social media is a big way that people lead generate these days. But I think one of the pitfalls is they spend 20 hours prepping their social media content and focusing on like the making it so perfect and pretty to maybe get 1 lead or no leads out of it, instead of doing like what is considered the more hard thing to do, which is cold lead generation, but it's proven time and time again there's results from it.
Yeah.
Consistently.
Yep, for sure. I think it's like whatever you're gonna do it consistent. I think you just hit the nail on the head, right? Like, do it every single day. If you want to get your pipeline moving, and if you want to find success in this industry at the beginning, ask as many people possible. Who do you know looking to buy or sell real estate, and when's your next move? If you ask those 2 questions 50 times a week, it's impossible to not find a few pieces of business from time to time. Because when you're asking, I've said this before, but if you're tired of getting told no, stop asking yes and no questions. Like, when's your next move? Not, are you moving? Well, my next move's in 2 years. Like, do you plan on being in business in 2 years? I hope so. So yeah, okay, then I'm going to follow up with you on that timeline.
Yep, and those conversations, again, I mean, it all ties together. That's why we recommend all of these things. All comes back to script and role play. If you're listening to this, like, I don't know what to say, that's why you should be going to script and role play or doing whatever you offer through your brokerage or chat with us. No.
Yeah, 100%.
But I mean, if you're listening to this saying, I don't know what to talk to people about, then you're always going to have this problem until you practice scripts and role play. That you're never going to know what to say, and that's going to be your mental block from picking up the phone and saying anything.
That's right.
Okay, so we've talked a little about lead gen. We do want to talk about follow-up specifically and how we structure our follow-up with our 0 to 30, 30, 90, and how we organize that.
Yeah.
There's a million different ways. Yeah, there's a million different ways you can handle follow-up. So we've done the lead gen. Now we're following up people you've already made contact with. Another big barrier I think agents have is, well, I don't want to bug them. I don't want to keep reaching out because they said blah, 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 blah. But one thing we do know is usually when buyers give you a timeline, or sellers usually cut that in half.
Cut it in half.
Is typically when they end up buying or selling. And the other thing we know is the fortune is in the follow-up. The agents who do follow-up and they do follow-up consistently and they stay top of mind and are disciplined about this will always do more business because they stay in front of those people. So we separate it out into 0 to 30, 30 to 90, and 90 plus pipeline buckets.
Yep.
And those people that are in your 0 to 30s, we recommend following up with them at least once a week. You're usually following up with your 0 to 30s on a daily basis if you have quite a few in that 0 to 30 bucket. Your 30 to 90s would be bi-weekly. And then your 90 pluses or 1 year outs are going to be at least monthly.
Yep. So just making sure that you're touching base with all of those at those timelines.
Yep.
So we structure it in a way where week one, every single week you're touching base with your 0 to 30s. So when you have your follow-up time block in your calendar, you know that no matter what, you're at least going to take a look at your 0 to 30s. You might have talked to them yesterday, so you don't need to call them today. But making sure, did I talk to them this week? Have I talked to them at least one time this week to move them forward closer to the end goal? Your 30 to 90s, you're going to call on weeks 1 and 3. So during those weeks, you're going to call your 0 to 30s, and then you're going to look at your 30 to 90s. Is there anybody that I haven't talked to in the past 2 weeks? And then your 90 pluses, you're going to call during week 2.
Yep.
Okay.
And I just time block it right on my calendar. Put exactly who I'm calling those days in my 0 to 30s at during this time. And then same with the lead gen. I block it specifically. Like my lead gen hour, I'm doing DTD2s this day. And then my next day, I might be doing new construction lead gen. And the third day for me might be something else, whatever your lead sources are. If you're paying for realtor.com leads, whatever that is, like I be very, very disciplined in time blocking so that you're touching all of your lead sources as well.
Yep. No, I think there's a misconception on follow-up too. Like, first of all, follow-up is one of the most important things that we're doing. It's the reason why Zillow sells leads, because we don't follow up, right? So I think the biggest misconception there with follow-up is that we think when we call them, regardless of their timeline, they should move today. It's not true. All you want to do when you're making a follow-up call is create movement of some kind. Anything at all. Hey, has anything changed with the timeline? What's one thing they can do? What's one thing you can do? And then I'm going to touch base with you on this day to make sure that we're still on the same timeline.
Don't call and say, I'm just following up with you.
Nope. Has anything changed? Hey, last time we spoke, we were thinking about moving at the end of fall. Has anything changed with that? Well, we moved it up or we moved it back. What's making you move it up or move it back? Let's ask questions. Let's figure out what's going on there. And then end the call with, I'm going to give you a call on this day or in 2 weeks. And here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to have for you. And during that time, have them start getting their documents ready. Have them start getting the house prepared and organizing. You can give them stuff that allows them to create movement and start moving that timeline up or back. Yeah,
and my other tip on that would be in every situation, in most cases, if you can, call them. Try not to do this over text. I know it's the uncomfortable thing to do, but getting somebody on the phone and hearing their voice and hearing their struggles and being able to interject and provide value builds that trust with that person and solidifies that relationship. I think doing it over a text is definitely the easy thing to do, and I know a lot of people prefer text because it's simple and it's less scary, but I am a huge proponent. I think my business has completely changed once I got over that fear of just talking to people on the phone.
Yeah.
And spending that extra 3 minutes with them and hearing their voice and building that relationship with them.
Yeah, I think you do something really cool when you don't instead of texting them or if you don't get a hold of them, what do you do instead?
Do an audio message. So instead of typing out a really long message, I just record an audio message and text it directly to them. It's much more personable. They can hear my voice and they can listen to it whenever it's convenient for them if they couldn't take the phone call. But
and they understand your tone. It makes you human.
Yeah.
Not just something that they're reading a salesperson. I think that's such a great tip. Before we move on, honestly, it's funny because I'm like, if you hit that morning structure and then you hit your lead gen follow-up, who cares what the rest of the day is? From my standpoint, if there's fires to put out or whatever it is that you do, if you do that in the morning, that's a win.
Agreed.
Plain and simple. So if you're looking at a 2-hour lead gen time block before we move on to how you should end your day or what happens in the middle of it, I would challenge you to look at your lead gen time block like an appointment. So if you are in the middle of your lead gen time block and all these fires come out, or I got pulled away doing this, or this lender called for this reason, whatever, my client called to do this, ask yourself one question. Would you step out of a listing appointment to take that call? And if the answer is no, then it can wait. And you just get through to ending your time block, see it through, do what you said you were going to do, and treat it that way. I think that's the most important piece of advice I can give on lead gen.
Yep, I second all of that. I kind of feel like a failure now at the end of the day if I don't make 5 contacts and do the lead gen. I'm like, oh my gosh, because I know how important it is to not live in that 0 to 30 and just worry about what's in front of me. I got to continue to build that so I always have business in the future, so I don't ever worry about that.
Awesome. Love it. Okay, you want to go through like middle to end of day? Or?
Yeah, I feel like the rest is pretty quick. I mean, the other part of your day, that's why we spent so much time on lead gen and prospecting and setting your day up and practicing your skills, because probably what is the most important.
Yeah.
So the other half of your day would be going on those appointments, whether it's listing appointments, buyer consults, maybe you're doing some showings, things like that. And then obviously prepping and planning for your next day if you have a listing appointment or
What's
you have
that look
showings
like for
to
you?
set up and all of that. For me?
Yeah. What's like prepping? Like how are you ending your day?
So for me, I'm usually prepping the paperwork, the packets, whatever I need to have for my listing appointment, and doing, for me, it's a pre-seller call. So if I have a listing appointment the next day, I usually within 48 hours of that like to do a pre-seller call or send them a link to my questionnaire of the information I need to better prepare for that, so I can come into that with all of the information to better win that appointment.
So you get your lead gen done before you start doing the activities that.
Yes, which means sometimes I'm doing it at 10 o'clock at night because I prioritize making sure I'm getting those calls in.
Right, because that's what keeps everything moving forward.
Yeah.
So I think that's such an important piece. And so when you're wrapping up your day, check one thing. Check your pipeline. Did anything move? Is there anything you need to move in your pipeline to keep it up to date?
Yeah, at the end of the day, so we track our numbers weekly for coaching, but I like to track them daily because sometimes it's hard for me to remember everything that happened day by day. So I have a little tracker app on my phone that just keeps track of how many people I talk to a day. So I'll go, that is how I track my convos for the week. But if I refer to lead to Katie or I set an appointment, because those are all numbers I track weekly, I just go and put it in my spreadsheet every day. Of what appointments I had, what listings I took, what buyers I referred to Katie. I'm tracking that on a daily basis so that when I come to coaching the next week, it's all there and ready to go.
Yep.
So I kind of do a look back at my day of what are those big nuggets, if you will, of things that move my business forward from appointments and convos did I do, and then I make sure I'm tracking that.
Yeah, it's simple. And ask yourself one question: was today a win? You said this is what would make today a win. Was today a win? Yes or no? And then that in itself is gratitude, right? Like, hey, I did this. I accomplished this today. I feel like I moved my business forward. And just that thought alone is you being a little bit more intentional with your business.
Yep. So to recap a day in the life of, our recommendations are setting your intentions for the day and gratitude, having script and role play infused somewhere, whether that's daily or throughout your week, that's time blocked in there as a priority, lead gen and prospecting at least 2 hours between the two of those, lead gen and follow-up, I mean, going on appointments, negotiating your contracts, setting up showings, kind of all of your active people that you're working, and then at the end of the day, prepping for your next day and
Tracking.
reflecting on what was a win for the day and tracking your numbers.
Tracking your numbers, yeah.
So that's what a day would look like. It sounds really easy on paper. I know when I was early on in my career, I spent all of my time doing not those things because I didn't know what to say during lead gen. So I spent my time making business cards and editing my website and planning out social media. And you find yourself doing all of these things that are non-revenue generating activity because of your fear of just picking up the phone and talking to people.
Yeah, and the focus is just to stack days. Every single day, get a little bit better. And if you're tracking your numbers and you're tracking your pipeline, you're going to see the progress. I think most people quit because they'll do this for 2-3 days and then they're like, nothing happened. But if you're seeing your pipeline numbers grow and seeing that continue to get better, and then you're tracking how many people you talk to on a day-to-day basis, you can see the inputs and the outputs.
Yep. And if you're not seeing that go up, then you need to do a time audit and see, are the activities that I'm doing in these buckets that are going to move my business forward? And if they're not, stop doing those things. And if they are, then you just need more reps.
Yeah.
If you are having the conversations and you're not getting the appointment set, then you need to work on your skill sets and you need to increase the amount of people you're talking to to reach your goal of how many houses you want to sell a year.
I love it. Anything else we need to cover here?
No, I don't think so. I guess the only other thing I would add is if you are in that realm of business where you're feeling like I can't get all of this accomplished in a day because I'm so busy trying to set up showings and all of these things, so I don't have time to lead gen. My advice to you then is you're probably at a place in your business where you're ready for an assistant or a showing assistant or someone so they can take those non-revenue generating things off of your plate and focus on that so you can get your lead gen time in, because that is your money making and that's going to keep your business afloat. So if you're not prioritizing that, then you're probably at a point where you need to look at delegating or leveraging out pieces of your business.
Yeah, and there's a game plan for that too. Like talk to us, we'll tell you how we've built what we have, and going from solo all the way to we have a brokerage now, right, with an entire staff. So like there's a path to do this. It doesn't have to be the same as what we did, but if you need help, we're there to help.
Absolutely.
The only thing I would add is cold plunge in the morning, and you should be good to go. Okay.
I don't do that.
All right. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.